This is the Whole Care Network. Helping you tell your story one podcast at a time. Content presented in the following podcast is for information purposes only. Views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the host and guest and may not represent the views and opinions of the Whole Care Network. Always consult with your physician for any medical advice, and always consult with your attorney for any legal advice. And thank you for listening to the Whole Care Network.
Welcome to the I Saved You, Now Do the Dishes podcast. I'm author and speaker Carrie Severson. In each episode, I'll share stories and tips from my experience with caregiving and advocacy through my husband's cancer journey. Welcome to season 2 of I Saved You, Now Do the Dishes. Everyone meet Gavin. Gavin, meet the internet.
Oh, it's over here. Hey, everybody.
So this season I want to incorporate him, bring him in for conversations about the cancer patient or the patient's healing experience and how different it was for my journey as his caregiver.
Okay. I mean.
Okay. So where season 1 left off, we were his very last day of treatment, and it kind of went haywire. He ended up throwing up blood clots. And then, do you remember that?
It wasn't fun. I mean, what, the time in the sink when your mom came over? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's like, it wasn't fun. Otherwise, it wasn't asthma. It was definitely the radiation. It was, I would say, suboptimal. I would go days where I could eat, and all of a sudden my throat would close, and just drinking water was like shards of glass stripped in wooden splinters. It was just, drinking water was like shards of glass dipped in wooden splinters. It was incredibly painful. Really could barely do it. That's what I remember about. And coughing up blood part in the sink with your mom there.
Yeah.
And then that convinced you to take me to the hospital that day.
Yeah. So I don't remember if I talked about this, but my mom was here because, oh yes, I did. My mom was here because I had booked a cleaning service to come in, cleaning for a reason, I think it's called. And she was going to keep the house open for the ladies. We had planned, Gavin wanted to bring crumble cookie to his last day, but we ended up giving crumble cookie to the cleaning ladies. And then the next day was really his final, March 14th. And I picked up 2 dozen Dunkin' Donuts.
It was donuts.
Yes. Okay. So then the day after, it's like the first day that we don't have anything. Do you remember what you said?
The day after?
Yeah.
I think I remember being kind of passed out on the couch. And I don't remember. I mean, the sequences was weird. Like, I remember, like, you might have squeezed too much food in me, and I threw it up in the AstroTurf in the back. But it's always the traumatic stuff that you remember more clearly than the things that are like.
That happened a couple of times.
It was easy. It's just the weirdness of how your mind works.
Yes. Okay. Hold the throwing up on the turf for a second, because I actually do remember that. But
might have been half naked when I did that. I can't remember. I don't know why, but I can't remember exactly why.
Oh my God.
I think there was some weird. I didn't really give a rip because I was in that kind of like. I don't know if you guys have ever been in that kind of shape where you just don't care because you feel so.
Oh my gosh, it was so awful.
I guess shitty is the word.
Okay, well, since you're talking about it,
off topic.
That was not the last day treatment. That was like, you had obviously already gotten the feeding tube. It was shortly after he got released, and I had to feed him at the hospital. And then he stumbled out of the car and he kind of tripped. He stumbled and the port popped open. So food was going everywhere. This was before
that was fun.
This was before we learned, you know, you had to tape it above your belly button and you had to clamp it. We didn't know any of that. So he's walking into the house and he's dragging formula everywhere. And I'm screaming at him to stop. And he stops and he puts both his hands out. And I'm like trying to clean it up and hold them together. And so we clamp it. And then he just strips. And he goes outside naked. And he takes the hose in the backyard and he starts hosing off his clothes. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I think so, because it looked like upchuck on my jeans. I think I was wearing jeans.
Yes, you were. I took a picture of it. And I was like, well, if the neighbors, I pray the neighbors aren't looking, but if they are.
It wasn't pretty, so I mean, it's not like they're like, ooh, look at that handsome upchuck on the guy's leg.
This is Gavin's bits and bobs. So anyway, no, that was not what I was going to say. What you said the very first day after your last day treatment was, I feel like a dog chained to a leash. I feel like a dog in a chain and I need to get away.
Yes, I very vividly remember, like, I just want to get away from Phoenix. Like, the escapism going to, like, a national park like Sequoia, Yosemite, Yellowstone, the Redwoods, something about that, for me, is very renewing and it just gives me a lot of energy type of thing. I felt like I just need to get out of Phoenix. Phoenix felt like, I guess, like how LA must feel at times, real crowded and air pollution-y. So I just wanted to get out to just like breathe the fresh air and, you know, be with God and nature, I guess, is the way to, like, I was like, I just need to get into a space where there's not all this chaos around us.
Yeah. And I didn't want to leave the house ever again.
The nesting versus whatever. It's just, I don't know.
Escapism, maybe.
Yeah.
That's actually a pretty good synopsis of how different we were. You needed to, like, our fight or flight was so different. You needed to run.
Yeah. Like,
I froze. I wanted to stay.
Yeah. It's like the difference between how, for you, escapism is Four Seasons or something like, and bed and breakfast.
Yes.
And for me, it's like looking at the beauty that is Yosemite with the canyon walls carved and the nature and what is it? They have a lot of coyotes there, deer. And then, you know, up in Yosemite, it's like the buffalo type of thing. So it's just like, for me, that's simplicity is comforting, and it probably just comes back to being a kid. I loved playing in the woods, going out to the creek and catching turtles and fish with my bare hands. There was something about that that I find enjoyable.
Yeah. And I wanted comfort I wanted someone to take care of me. I wanted to just sit and never have to move again. But we were that first week.
I did a lot of not moving, so I wanted to do some moving.
Yeah, that's true.
And yeah, I mean, nothing like when you're in the hospital for a couple. Nothing like when you're in the hospital for a couple weeks and you have this. That's the worst part, is these IV drip things, and you just like you're like chained to this thing, and it's like it's like kind of like being chained to the wall. Like if you picture like medieval Europe or whatever, they chain people to the wall. It wasn't exactly like that, but it would kind of worse if the chain with a needle into their arm type of thing. And you just, you know, you can't really leave the room, and like it's, you know, they kind of like didn't like want to let you shower that much. And shower for me is like, I don't know, like maybe I'm addicted to showering. It's like, it makes me feel,
he needs water.
Yeah, it just makes me feel relaxed.
Yeah.
Type of thing. It's like, for some people it's a jacuzzi. it's just one of those things for me is like water. It's very relaxing for me.
Yeah. So like your freedom was taken from you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Cause I couldn't leave because I had to do the cancer treatment. And then it was like getting kicked in the nards every day for
A long
3
time.
months straight. I mean, the radiation was weird. Like you don't feel it right away. Like you do it, like, oh, that feels good. And then like 2 hours later, it's like getting punched in the throat, kind of. And then you really notice it. It's that like delayed effect. Like your body takes a moment to react to it.
Yeah.
And it sucks. And then like you fall asleep, whatever. Then you wake up the next day and go again. It's like shizer. Like you don't want to, but you have to, type of thing. And then
You didn't want to, period. And
yeah, the same. Well, I did a lot of WebMD research, which
don't do, by the way.
but yeah, don't do. But I had a conversation with a doctor friend of ours, basically about Steve Jobs, and like so he had the unlimited resources, right? The best treatment in the world. He decided to go alternative, and it ended up killing him because he waited too long. And so that resonated with me. Is like, yeah, that guy did have a heck of a lot more resources than most of us, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
So I decided to listen to my doctor friend, and it did work. I mean, I'm still here. There's not a huge lump the size of a grapefruit, which was
It was gigantic.
basically there. It was like an orange by the time they got to it, maybe a large orange.
It was a grape cluster. That's what they called it. It looked like a cluster.
Yeah.
But if you
Another
can,
thing.
he doesn't have saliva anymore. So if you can't
Not a lot,
hear
no.
it, it's like my biggest pet peeve.
She loves it.
Still to this
And we're
day.
driving in the car, and you're like,
He'll be talking.
She'll like grab this crusty old water that's been sitting there, may have a little bit of mildew on it, and here, drink this. And like, oh, and you put that weird amino acid stuff in it.
Yes, it is. It is my biggest pet peeve because he lacks saliva, as I think most cancer patients or recovering patients from head and neck cancer.
Yeah.
And his kids will always be like, "So when does Dad get that back?" And we're like, "Never. It's gone." Anyway,
there's a lot less. Yeah, there's still some there, just not as much. It's probably, I don't know, half.
So the idea that caregivers are looking for comfort because we're so burnt out, and there's been this traumatic experience of so much additional responsibility put on our plate, that is coming like so full circle for me. And it's been about a year since I've been in therapy for caregiving trauma. I just recently partnered with the National Alliance for Caregiving and working with them this year on some policy changes, which is really cool. And I've heard from so many other cancer caregivers, from breast cancer, pancreatic cancer, liver cancer, colon cancer, and it doesn't matter how we got to this position, the amount of responsibility that we're given is overwhelming and very surprising. Whereas the patients have
I meant to do that. Sorry.
the patients have a very different viewpoint, and I don't know. So this season, this is what we're exploring. We are looking at the difference between his journey and mine. I'm going to bring on some additional caregivers, talk to them. I'm going to bring in my therapist. We'll talk about all those pieces. What do you think is the most, what do you think has been the most helpful thing, though, in your last year of putting space between you and that experience from a healing perspective?
I was, spending time with you, getting away to Oregon Beach, and being able to spend time with my kids. The first thing, I was driving around Southern California with a feeding tube still. It was still hard to eat, but I know I needed to go a month before they would take it out. And that was healing to me, is being able to spend time with my kids. I felt like I helped Wyatt more with riding his bike. He was just beginning, actually, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird because he had, it was the training wheels. He used to ride his bike, but it was the training wheels. So to me, that was really rewarding moving forward. The progress, I snapped back pretty quick. It was about 3 months where I was mostly back together. I could, walk and talk and eat somewhat normally. Ketchup still tasted like hot sauce, which it doesn't anymore. Thank gosh. And barbecue sauce is starting to cool down too, because that still feels like everything's got jalapenos in it when it's got just a touch of vinegar to some extent, which is weird, but it's better than being dead.
Better than being dead. He says that a lot.
Well, it gives you a lot of perspective. You're having conversations with Jesus while crying in that Walmart, like, you're going to kill me now. So I don't think I was very good. I was too selfish and all this other stuff. And like, I got to do better. And so it was a good lesson for me in mortality and sanctity of life, love. It showed me how much you cared for me too. It's scary good, like scary lots, a little cray stage 5 Klingon type thing, but in a good way. I like to say I drink my coffee with a rusty nail in it, but the truth is I probably drink my coffee with 2 scoops of extra sensitive. Don't tell anybody though. So
he says that when I get angry, I activate the Incredible Hulk, and
yeah, that's true. It's like that old saying, like, who's the bravest person? Oh, that's my dad. What's your dad afraid of? His wife. So I think that's kind of natural.
Yeah, but I think that's what most cancer caregivers face is how do we fight to keep our person alive, and having to fight against a system, and having to fight against a system. And the more distance I have from it, the more I'm like, God, I can't believe we actually did that.
Oh, can I say something?
Yeah.
Okay. One thing, yeah, sorry. I got a 10-year-old. He's always raising his hand, and then somehow it wore off on me. One thing I noticed big is like there's sub-segments within the cancer treatment. There's the surgery, there's the proton radiation, and then there's a chemo. And the surgery and the chemo and radiation, I don't know for certain if there's a conflict of interest and money generation, but I think with the chemo and radiation type of thing, there should be a specialist that does both because they're combined. And there wasn't communication really between those 2 departments. It became a cluster fiber, I guess I'll say, a cluster fiber. And, it seemed like that was unnecessary. It should be your chemo and your radiation person should be the same person that does it. Like it just, and a particular hospital said, oh, it's the team-based approach that was horse.
It was not
horse stuff. It was a slogan, not necessarily an executed thing. I guess is the way I say it. That was a little bit irritating, but it's like I'm just happy to be alive. So what they did worked. And there's always room for improvement in a lot of things, especially, us as people, but I think that would be a relatively easy solution, and they could, hospitals there to make money, and they could still keep the revenue stream if you're listening, hospital administrators, because it seems like that's important. It is, money drives behaviors. That's the world we live in. We'd like it to be different, but, if you can make the money drive a behavior, it is also good for patient outcomes. It's a win-win. Not win financially for the doctors and hospital, also a win for the patients and their patient experience.
There you go. So thanks for tuning in to the first episode of season 2 of I Saved You Now Do the Dishes. Gavin is totally okay with the title, by the way.
I do not like the title. I hate dishes.
He doesn't like doing the dishes.
Scoop up dog poop with my bare hands than dishes. I may have gotten Mr. Musk's email address and sent them like, can you please make a dishwasher where you put the dishes in and it scrubs the dishes for you? And like, you'd make billions of dollars, you'd be able to fund that trip to Mars, like, you know, that type of thing. He so far didn't respond to her. If he did,
Anyway,
it went to junk.
So hopefully you'll see more of Gavin. This is this is us, a real life, and so sorry if it's
I'm not a professional.
Sorry if it's all over the place, but we hope that you've enjoyed coming into our kitchen and hanging out with us for the first episode of season 2. Until next time. Oh, I always sign off. If you are a caregiver, always remember it's okay to have somebody else do the dishes.
This is the Whole Care Network. Helping you tell your story one podcast at a time. Content presented in the following podcast is for information purposes only. Views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the host and guest and may not represent the views and opinions of the Whole Care Network. Always consult with your physician for any medical advice, and always consult with your attorney for any legal advice. And thank you for listening to the Whole Care Network.